Hello, good morning, good evening, or good night from wherever you're watching us in the world today. We are in the sixth session of Fab Month. We have had an amazing, we're almost halfway through all of our Fab Month sessions, and today we want to introduce you to the Fab Month on SDG goals and Fab Labs. Basically, I lost my screen. Now I don't know where it is. From awareness via alignment to accountability and impact by design. So this is a session that's going to be led by Pieter van der Heij, that he's basically the lead on all the SDG efforts into the Fab Lab community. So with that, I'll hand it over to Pieter.
Okay, thank you, Norella. And welcome in this session. I hope a few more people will show up, but anyhow, it is always interesting to do this. And then we have, if we are in a small company, we have more opportunity to discuss with each other and to work with each other. But let's first try to go through a few technical hiccups. First, we have a landing page. I do that often when I have a workshop. Then I have online a simple web page where I can add later interesting links, etc. And we don't have to communicate about complex issues. So the landing page for today, I don't know whether you see that already, is bit.ly and then /Fab Month minus SDGs. Should I type it again? Oh, there it is already. Thank you, Sam.
Do you want to share your screen so that it's visible for everyone?
If you click on that link, you see a so-called landing page, and at the right side you have some topics with welcome, claim your seat. Claim your seat has a little anchor at the left side, and that is a link to a Google page. So if you click that, you come on a Google page. Yeah, there it was. Oh, Norella showed it already. Okay, great.
Yeah, so it's claim your seat.
Yeah.
And here.
And then you come on the list, and there they have to fill in their name and remember the number. That is the essence of it. And they remember the number and the password.
Here. Oh, I am already signing.
Okay, and then okay, I see that is an then you click on at the top. You see your preliminary picture, yeah, and then you see profile. Okay, you have switched to English already. Okay, great. Yeah. Then you can go to your profile. Okay, great. Yeah, that had to be done automatically, but now you can change your profile. And now you can, your first name is Fab01 and your last name Mons, but your username still remains Fab01. You cannot change it, but you can this replaced by your real name, your real first name, your real last name, and your real email address. And that is no problem. Remains hidden, unless you decide otherwise, and maybe you can also fill in your country, etc. Oh, Norella is already very active, and that is it. And at the bottom, you have to change the profile. Okay, and then it's strange that this is again in Dutch. Why is that? Okay. And that was, is there your, No, this is all in preferred language. Maybe you have to change that, preferred language.
Now if I go to home.
Yeah, and then, but then now you go to the Fab Labs and SDG course. There is another course there as well, but that is in Dutch. Okay, there we are. I hope you all can come at this point because this is most the basic for this afternoon or for this hour from where we are going to work. Is that possible? Sam, do you have that same page already? And Ricardo and Kieran?
Yes, I'm there just now, and I'll try to follow the steps that Norella just went through.
Okay, and hopefully it is in English and not in Dutch.
Yes, I did have to change over to English as well, but yep, everything is fine now. Thank you.
Okay, and Ricardo and Kieran as well?
Yeah, yes, done from my side.
Okay. Okay, then what we are going to do, I ask you, well, you see it here, edit your first name, last name, email address and country, and then go to the social forum for general use to say hello and introduce yourself. Maybe we should do that for just to have very little practice. And so you go to the forum and we can see what Norella does. You add a discussion topic. And you say, hello, I am Norella. And then in the body of the message, you can also tell about yourself. Okay, thank you. And then we see that Norella is already there, and if the rest is finishing their contributions, they will be there as well. Maybe Norella has to refresh now and then, so that you can see that that new people have been added. Okay.
And Pieter, this is like the social forum on creating discussions specifically for the people involved in the SDGs around Fab Labs. Is this the idea?
This is now only for this afternoon because I also want you to ask your feedback and how do you like such a system as a support system for online meetings, for instance. The advantage is that we work from one side and always can come back to this site. So if I want to go back to the index of this course, of this workshop, I have to click at the top on FAB Month minus SDGs, and then I immediately have the table of contents. So let's say we have used the social forum, then the first topic, and you see the topics in the column left, but also in the central column, which is broader. In the column left, you see we are going to talk about awareness. Number 2 is alignment. Number 3 is action. And number 4 is accountability. So we are now busy with awareness. And you see here the well-known poster with the goals. And if we go a little bit more down, we have a little test for all of you to test your basic knowledge on the SDGs. So you can attempt this quiz. It's about 6 questions only, 6 or 7 maybe. And Norella, well, maybe the others should do that first. I don't know whether the questions are all in the same sequence. At least the answers are there is a message from Franklin. Yeah. Okay, so you can now go and answer these questions.
I don't want to answer. I don't think I have the right response.
No, that is so you are a very normal person, and a normal person doesn't have the right answers.
I'm reading through and
So
I'm like,
try, just try.
okay, if I would, yeah. I do want to say the World Economic Forum. I don't know. The UN. That. It's like, I know goals is one. No. I don't know, Peter. This is so confusing.
Yeah. This is the moment of truth.
Right. How many? So I think it's like, no. Suppose. Peter, I don't know. How many goals are involved? Okay. I don't know. I'm gonna say 1 and I'm gonna say 8. All countries. Ooh, I have. Let's be reinventing. Okay, I'm gonna finish for sake of time.
Okay. And then you have to confirm a few times that you submit all and finish. Okay, and I think then you see the results. And I think the others can do that as well, but for reason of time, I will go quickly through the results so that you know what should be the right answer, and know a little bit about the SDGs. So the first thing, it is the outcome of a worldwide bottom-up process. So it is not the United Nations are in fact an association of countries, and they are not a real authority who can say to the other countries what they have to do, only in certain circumstances like Security Council, etc. But it's all on a voluntary base, in fact, what happens there. And it is not the UN General Secretary who is the boss. It is the outcome of a worldwide bottom-up process that has generated these sustainable development goals. Then the second one, who has the lead in implementing the goals? These are the national governments. So they all together have decided these are the goals for the coming years. And but the lead in implementing it is not some UN agency or the General Secretary. It's the national government, and the national government, on a voluntary basis, reports to the United Nations about the progress. Then the next one, how many goals there are? There are 17 goals, the 17 logos in the poster. But these goals have been subdivided in 169 targets or sub-goals. And there is some confusion because earlier we had the Millennium Goals, and the Millennium Goals, there were only 8, and that was a long time ago. But they were very successful, and therefore, when the Millennium Goals came to an end, the countries in the UN meeting have decided to go further and to do something like what now is called the Sustainable Development Goals. Then the next question was, which countries do the UN SDGs apply to? It's applicable to all countries. So not only the poor countries, but all countries have to have agreed with it and realize that it is also about themselves and not only about other countries. And then the time frame is from 2016 to 2030. It is expected that in 2030 the results are not overwhelming. So it is possible that there will be an additional 5 or maybe 10 years, but at this moment it is from 2016 to 2030. And the 3 words are transforming our world. And then the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goal. That is the official document by the United Nations, and which is translated in many countries. So that is a first try. Now at the bottom you can go to the, oh yeah, you can finish review. You can also go to the next thing. Click to see the basic. To see the SDG, if you click the, yeah. Here are some basic facts. Clockwise, you see it is the outcome of a worldwide bottom-up process. There are 17 goals, 169 targets, and even much more indicators. That is for statistical reasons. They are agreed by all 193 UN member states. That is quite a lot and quite unique that they all agree. They are implemented by national governments, and the required budgets are trillions of dollars each year. And these have to be organized in different ways. It is not sponsored by the United Nations. They have only a very modest budget. And the bottom line is leave no one behind. And that is a motto through all these 17 goals. Okay, can we go to the next point in the agenda? Okay. Here you see a picture that you cannot read, but that is not really necessary, but it is just to give you an impression about the 17 goals and the 169 sub-goals. It is a lot of text, but we have a nice tool where you can browse this whole thing and search for the topics you are interested in. For instance, Norella has now started this tool, and what is very interesting that maybe you don't see it at the bottom right now, but you have a search option in the bottom. For instance, Norella, if you type, you type doctor, or you can also type, for instance, tech from technology, TEC, and then you immediately see where in the goals and in the target this text string is used. So it gives you an impression that also we all think number 4 is quality education, but elements like education, training, capacity building, etc., can be found back in many goals. And a general concept like technology is not bound to one of the goals, but it comes back in many of the targets of the sub-goals of other goals as well. But also concepts like girls or women, and you can see where they are receiving special attention in the goals. So now we go back to our course and then to the other one. I think this is enough for the awareness. And now what are we going to do? if we talk about alignment, and oh, here we missed the, if you click on alignment itself, is it then only, oh, we go back, then, okay, this is a picture. That is the outcome of a special workshop we have, the workshop on how to align your Fab Lab with the SDGs. During this workshop, the workshop that is meant to be played by your Fab Lab staff and the staff members of your Fab Lab, they come together to a SDG profile, as we call it. And what is an SDG profile? Well, the 17 SDGs, that is too much to handle all the time. So at one moment, we found out it is better that we ask the Fab Labs to concentrate on 2, 3, or 4 SDGs, and they can select themselves which ones. And here you see how that works during this special workshop. This fictitious Fab Lab has decided to go for 4, 8, 9, and 17. In the second column, they explain why they have selected this. And in the third column, they go, and that happens all during that workshop. This is the final result. In the third column, they are thinking about their actual activities in the current year and how they can bend them a little bit, how they can create a better match between the topics of their SDG profile, goals, and their current agenda. And the last column is about reflecting what does it mean for the Fab Lab network. And there are other Fab Labs in the world with, which have maybe the same profile, or at least some of the targets, some of the goals in common with us. What can we do? What can we do with that? That's what we do in that workshop. There are two ways to come to such a profile. You also can say, well, we don't have so much time now for a workshop that let's do it. We have our staff meeting and we discuss 15 minutes about our profile, and that's it. That is also possible. So we have two ways to come to a profile: the solid way, as we call it, and the quick way. And in the materials here, if you click on align with the SDGs, then you see a link to the solid way. Then you come in the manual for the Fab Lab manager on how to come to such a profile, and much more. And there is also another link with which you immediately can go to the forum to deliver your SDG profile. That's the administrative part. We, as a work group, I am the coordinator of the work group Fab Labs and SDGs. We, as a work group, only receive your SDG profile. We don't receive the full planning form. So the only thing we know are these 4 numbers. And what we do with these 4 numbers, we will see now. And Norella, if you can go back to the explore the overview of all Fab Labs. Yeah, there is another link to click. Would be a little bit larger. Yeah, okay. There you see an overview of all the Fab Labs with an SDG profile. For instance, if I go to, let's say Malaysia, you can click on that figure. Yeah, you can click on that anchor, and there you see the 4 Fab Labs in Malaysia with their profile. So there is one, the Maker Lab 4, 5, 8, and 9 they have, and there is also one that only in Georgetown, it only has 4 and 5 as a profile. That is possible, or 4, 9, and 17 also, and etc. Via this online overview, you can click on the link and can come immediately in the fablabs.io register for that Fab Lab on the homepage there. But you also can click on the country, Malaysia. If you click on the three dots there, and then you see a special info card. You can track it, draw it to another position. If you take it at the yeah, that way. You see information about the country, but also information about the Fab Labs. There are 10 in Malaysia. Only 4 have a profile so far. There are no Fab City members. Fab City is also included in this overview. And then we have calculated the Fab Lab density for Malaysia, and we did that for all the countries. And that is also the reason that you see the countries have different colors. For instance, Lebanon is green, and that means it has a high Fab Lab density. While Kyrgyzstan is orange, and that does mean there are Fab Labs, but not too many. And then there is also a yellow that is that is more, but not green. It takes too much time to explain the criteria we have used to calculate this, but it has to do with the population size and it has to do with the area. So you need to have more than one Fab Lab per million inhabitants and more than one Fab Lab per 10,000 square kilometers. But that is all calculated. And this is updated every month. So every month I publish a newer version of it, generated from the data and generated from fablabs.io. Okay, then we go back to our course.
I have a question.
Yeah, a question.
Yeah, so as you get, where did I found the form? The form is in here, right? So anyone that it's wanting to join or to get themselves involved into their SDG goals for their Fab Lab, the only thing they need to do is just complete this form so that they show up. Okay, where was I? Explore the full thing here, so that they show up.
That was exploring. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and then the next step is see the Fab Lab profile statistics. That is an interesting. Here you see how the interest is of the different Fab Labs for the different SDGs, because it's not always the same, of course. And you see a difference between, for instance, South America, where quality education is very high. 76% has that in their profile. Worldwide, by the way, it is even higher. It is 81%. And in Asia, it is 87%. So it is not, I thought it is a lot in South America, but you also see that peace and justice has 0% in South America, while in other countries, well, there are more continents with 0%. It is not very popular, unfortunately. In Asia, 3%, and in Europe, 1%. So you can use this, and in the center you see the world figures. That was for earlier this month, and all these graphics also can be reached via the overview that I showed earlier. You can use this to see the what have we all in common and what are the main differences. And in fact, you also can see these pictures by country. Here it is by continent, but we have them also by country. That is just to give you an impression. Then we go to the action, and here we are asking a question to all of you. in the discussion here. A question for Fab Labs that do not yet have an SDG profile. We say, what a pity that your Fab Lab does not yet have an SDG profile. Would you please explain that? We would like to convince you of the usefulness of such a profile as a first step. How could we do that? So if this applies to you, you can click on reply and give an answer. But maybe the other question is more important for you. And there is a second. It is great that your Fab Lab already has an SDG profile. Can you say something about the consequences of drawing up that profile for your Fab Lab? What has changed? Is it only that you say, well, we have that profile now, or did it really has consequences for your Fab Lab practice? Consider, for example, adjustments in the programming of your activities, thematic or collaboration with other Fab Labs, like Fab Care, for instance, or more regional collaboration, or contributing to disaster risk reduction, and so on. Small or large, we are curious. So that gives you some time. Maybe we can give you the time here for a moment to fill in one of these questions. Can you find the page? Eh? That is always.
I just share it in the chat for the one.
It is always a struggle, also for me, and as a workshop designer, how to make the experience easy going and not cluttered up by too many different sources. I must say it helps me as a facilitator that Norella is doing the real work, so to say, because otherwise you become crazy. But at the same time, you have to look at what to listen to what I am saying and what Norella is showing, and in the meantime, going to your own page with in this case this forum discussion.
But why don't we sense it out? We have Franklin. I think Franklin has a Fab Lab, or he's working with 2 Fab Labs in, I want to say, Rwanda, but I may be wrong of what I remember. Hijden, I don't know. So I think let's raise your hands if you are there, or just open the mic and tell us, like, if you are already involved with the SDG goals, or is this a new thing for you that you would like to embark in?
Good evening, guys. It's Ochola Franklin from Nairobi, Kenya.
That's the thing. Sorry about that.
So in our country, we have a couple of Fab Labs, but most of them are attached to the university. One of them being Fab Lab Nairobi. Then there's Gearbox, which is a makerspace method. Then we have a Fab Lab in Kisumu, Fab Lab Winam. So at the moment, I have a project that I did of the Fab Labs because most of them are far away from me, but I still have the knowledge. So I just improvised. Yeah. So for the SDGs, yes, I am familiar with them, but I haven't used the platform.
Mm-hmm. They're not there, eh? The SDG profile is not there yet.
Yeah.
Okay, but you know now where the form is to fill, and and early next month, and that is next week, and I will prepare the new overview. So if I could receive it this week, then it will be on the map from next week.
That are now our ambassador for the SDGs. I see here a comment from Ricardo saying, vaguely connected to Fab Labs in Portugal, FCT and Benfica. Both already have profiles created, but I've never spoken about this with their managers, old or new. So
Yeah.
I think it's a matter of updating or contacting them again. Anyone else that wants to give their opinion? Olivia?
Hi, sorry guys, I'm on the road.
Don't worry.
Ah,
It's fine.
hi,
Thanks for
Olivia.
joining.
Hi, nice to see you. Hi, Peter, nice to see you
Hi.
again. I have a question regarding the profiles. So, as you know, Peter, I've spoken to the Geneva Forum a couple of times. I'm going to speak again about the SDGs in Fab Labs, and probably so will you. The question is that my new Fab Lab, so the third one that I've founded is the mobile Fab Lab in Greece, and it's exclusively for SDGs and local needs or cultural stuff. And the question is about how many of the SDGs we can choose when we are on the platform, because I remember I could only choose three of the SDGs, whereas the project that I have, four, that's it. So I have 42 activities at the moment, which are connected to nearly all the SDGs. So how can I connect more of them? How is it possible?
That is, we did it. It was a decision that was taken once. It was a decision to force the Fab Labs to come with priorities. And if you have an education task for yourself, then I would say then you have number 4. And if it is international cooperation, whatever, then it is number 17. But the problem was, there was a Fab Lab, for instance, they have made, how do you call it, a kind of a memory game for children with the 17 goals. And then they wanted all the 17 goals in their profile. And then you have it is then the tendency then is that that everybody of that we all want everything.
Everybody
Then it is no information
that everybody
anymore.
chooses everything. You're right. So for example, I had 52 schools last year, and I was talking about like a cluster of the SDGs. So it was like an environmental kind of project. So it was about like 4 of the SDGs, not just one. And then this year I'm doing SDG 5 and 10. It's about inequalities and gender equality. I don't know where to place myself. I'm placing myself in number 4, but it would be nice if there was an option for, I don't know, maybe to talk a little bit about our activities in detail, because maybe we can share ideas and projects. Maybe I could add some stuff in Scopes DF, or maybe there could be a link about it. I don't know. So that would be my suggestion. And this is a platform that I really like a lot. And I think it's really useful to everybody. And it would be nice if I can see each other's projects through the platform. I would like that a lot.
Maybe we could consider, I would say, if we stick to the 4, then it is number 4 and maybe number 17 about cooperation. And but you also could say we can add a number 0, and that is that wheel, the wheel with all the colors as generic, whatever. Not really claiming that we are an expert in 17 fields, but that we have typical activities covering all the SDGs. Something like that. That could be. Would be.
Okay.
We will think about that.
Nice work.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks for presenting this.
Then it is we have to go to the next, time for reality test. So first you have to answer a few questions. Maybe you can click, Norella. And so we ask you to enter the name of your country. And then you have to say, if you look, in your case, to Colombia, how do you estimate the progress of the SDGs within your country? If you think about Colombia, you could give a grade to each of these 17 goals, for instance. But which one would have the best performance, and which one would have the worst performance?
Say,
And the other people do that for their own country, of course.
best perform climate actions in between I want to say 9 and the worst 16.
Yeah, and then you submit the answers and continue. And now you see in the list, if you go down, then you see that now there is some a new link becomes visible for you. If you have filled in the answers before, then this new links becomes visible. And here you can look for Colombia. And see in the colors how well they are doing. So in your mind, you think we are very well in the field of 9, but it is very miserable. But the good news is the trend is slight upwards in number 9. And number 16 was bad. Indeed, it was bad, but stable. It is not getting worse. For instance, number 10, reduce inequalities, is going down. But altogether, it is the scale is now red, orange, yellow, green. Red is very bad, and green is very good, or on track, or whatever. You see, there is a lot to do, and this is result of external research. This is an existing site. This is not the work of our working group. But now you can click on 9 to see why is it so low, because that is a real difference with what you have thought. And then you see the details that they have, in fact, the indicators that they used to come to this conclusion. And you see
Nice. I was
and
going to
then
ask that question, like, how can you compare your Fab Lab based on your location on the current trend or what's going on your country? So you just
yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
This is an external, like you have linked this to the SDG platform so that we can see this.
Yeah. In the big overview, if you click on the country of Colombia, you find that info card, and there is that link to this immediately. You can find immediately the link there, and then you go there too. Yeah. And this is an independent consortium. They come every year with new figures, and I expect the next round in June. So with a little bit luck, then we have the new figures available in the new conference in Mexico, and we process this in our overview as well.
Okay, nice. Super nice. Okay.
Okay, that is the answers from the independent researchers. And that is what we did already. And now we come to the last point, because it is already time for impact. And impact, that is the next round, because I think it is nice that almost 500 Fab Labs have an SDG profile already. That is around 20% of all the Fab Labs, which is a lot, but it could be better. And we are trying to make that better, but it should not stop there. And the next thing is that we want to draw their attention to real impact. And impact is what ultimately counts. And I think impact by design means that we start with the impact when we are thinking about new projects, and a nice formulation of impact, well known all over the world, well known in all kind of political circles and multilateral development banks, the SDG targets. Because it is important that we try to focus on activities that have an SDG related impact, and because nobody has money enough to pay for it, it could not all be a government funded project. You should search for commercially sound and viable businesses to set up. So in fact, the challenge is do something that helps realize one of the SDG targets and do it in such a way that it does not cost too much from public sources. And in fact, we have here a small exercise, but of course we have too little time and too little people now to do that in an extensive way. Here you can enter the name of your country, then you select a Fab Lab that you are interested in and want to work on. And I think that could be a Fab Lab from your profile, but maybe you have reasons to do something else, no problem. So you select one of the goals, and then you are looking for the targets. And the targets you find in that tool that we used earlier, the tool to explore. Maybe there was a Fab Lab SDGs. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. And by the way, we have that also in English and in Spanish, Portuguese, etc. And the numbers, the little numbers, are exactly the same. The code for the targets is in all languages the same. So it is also an interesting multi-language translation tool. If you, for instance, look at 4.4, so goal 4 and then number 4, then substantially increase the number of youth and adults who have relevant skills, including technical and vocational skills, for employment, decent jobs, and entrepreneurships. That is so much that you say in one little sentence. And if we, at the other side, only say, well, we are giving training programs, and of course, you learn interesting things in these training programs, and the participants were happy with the training program, then we are missing. There is a missing link. There is a missing link between the outcome of our training program and the real impact as formulated here in target number 4.4. And therefore, we are trying now to bring the message across that we should start with a target like 4.4 and then reason back to see what the Fab Lab should do. And then your activities become much more, you have much more a contribution to what the real target is. Otherwise, you start fantasizing. Yes, we have trained so many people, and of course, we now expect them to find jobs. Yeah, that is reasonable. That sounds reasonable, etc. But you cannot prove it. You cannot say which training works and which training does not work, and how can we improve that? That is the next message that we try to bring across. Okay, then that is in fact what we ask what we would like to ask the participants for today. Describe what activities are required to achieve these targets. What time period are you thinking of, and what scope are you talking about? Your city, about your province, or about the whole country? And what activities could the Fab Lab be responsible for? And what result would the Fab Lab want to commit to? It is not we are doing something and maybe it helps. No, it is the sponsors are looking more and more for certainty that the money is really leading to the desired results. Of course, it is spent in the right way. They have their mechanisms in place for that. You cannot spend a grant. If you have a grant, you cannot spend it for parties. But even if you give training programs, is it for the right people? Does they learn something? Could they use that learning outcome, etc.? That is important. And in fact, that is what we try to learn to the people with this very short workshop. Then we come to the evaluation of this workshop, and that is again a form that you can fill in. It is a pity that there are only so we are only with a few organizers and I think 4 or 5 participants. But nevertheless, I appreciate that you were here, and I'm sure that you can give suggestions of how we can improve it. I must say what we are thinking about for the coming conference, that is the SDG impact game. That is also about impact, but then you play the role of, but then we take 4 hours and you play the role of government official first and then of investment bank, an SDG-related investment bank, and ultimately as a Fab Lab wanting to contribute. So then you go much deeper, especially in the impact on the impact side. What I do not know yet, and we are, that is for us unclear. Which information should we collect from the Fab Labs to come with useful overviews if it is about impact? It is clear that we are collecting the SDG profiles. That works fine, and we have that in place. It is a process that is more or less automatic every month, but we are still struggling to find a good solution about Fab Labs working on impact. Which information should we collect without creating a bureaucracy, without doubling efforts that exist already? We are still not there. So I hope that via the workshops and via a presentation like this one, our ideas about this can evolve as well. It is for us, for our working group. It is also a learning journey. In fact.
Yeah, I want to say that I really like the quantity version of like showing the, because I think under impact there's a lot of like quality information about impact, but not quantity version of impact. So I feel that the SDG providing those numbers, those data, that it's more under that quantity side that I always confuse between quantity and qualitative. But basically it's more on the number side rather than just telling the story. So I feel that the SDG is I haven't seen the tool. I always hear about SDG and I know the work that you do in the backend, but I never have seen it, like how it plays out for Fab Labs. And I feel that it's like a really important tool onto that aspect, seeing the numbers, seeing the reality check under your country, and how to best address it for the needs of your Fab Lab. So I feel it's getting there. It's maybe how it's more, a little bit more digestible because it's a lot of information, but I feel that it is a really nice tool to provide Fab Labs into getting into this impact assessments that many of them have in their Fab Labs as part of their goals as well. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anyone else has anything else to say. I think some of them were involved in SDGs today. Others are new to the concept. So it's more on getting involved, figuring out a way in which you can support your Fab Labs with the tools that are provided also through the SDG goals. So thank you so much, Peter. I don't know if anyone else has a question or a comment. I can extend 2 more minutes, but we're almost finished. Anyone? I think the questions were answered through as we were going through the platform as well.
What was new in this afternoon, but also in short time troubles, that was that I used a digital learning environment. So what you have seen and what Norella presented, that was in fact what also is used in schools and universities and whatever for their courses, and that you can have all kind of activities accessible from one page, in fact. And I was used to the disadvantage is you need an account, and it needs to run somewhere, and somebody has to pay that sometime. It is not expensive, but anyway, there is money involved, so that is it's our disadvantages of that approach. But it is really interactive. You can answer, and the answer is stored, and we can work on with it and further. In contrast with my landing page, the landing page is read-only. That is simply a way by which I can distribute my materials in a nice way and add some links later, and I can easily upload it to the internet with one click, etc. But it is only in one direction. I am the publisher and you can read, or a little bit interaction, but you cannot answer. And the learning environment offers you the forums and a way to make assignments or whatever, to do quizzes and tests, and to see whether it is wrong or not, and etc.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
something to think about.
Yeah, there's a question in the chat from Ricardo. Is there a centralized center for good practices? Say a country is falling behind on a given goal. Can we go check what the other countries are doing about that?
Well, yeah, the problem is the countries have the voluntary rule that they report to the United Nations, but it is sometimes a little bit politically biased, so that you don't have the right data, or for instance, United Nations never have prepared such a report for themselves for whatever reason. And so there are more countries where we are waiting for. But there is that independent research that produces a report for every country every year, and based on the facts that they could collect themselves. And that could be seen, Ricardo, as the centralized center for good practices. At least there is a lot of data available for all countries in the same way. And I can recommend that you go back to that country dashboard that we have seen before and look at the homepage of the site where it is coming from. It is the sdgindex.org site, so from my head, where you can play with these the figures for all the countries. So you can look for SDG number 3. How is that worldwide, country by country, and compare it in that way. And all the data that they have published is also in a big spreadsheet where you can that you can access yourself. I access it also because you see in my overview that every country has a little progress indicator. Well, that is the progress indicator from this report. And I cannot calculate myself a progress indicator. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
That's
that's
great.
it.
That's great. So I think, do we have anything else, Peter, or are we kind of done?
No, I hope you have filled in the. I cannot we're not very good in multitasking, so I cannot see whether you have filled in the agenda, the evaluation already, but I will see that later.
I have not.
And I will
But
place some extra links on the landing page.
on the
So
landing page. Okay,
okay.
cool. Thank you so much, Peter. And thank you everyone for joining and taking an hour of your time, of your day. I know it's Monday, but thank you for joining. And for those who are watching us online, remember this is part of the Fab Month initiatives session about celebrating the Fab Lab Network with people, projects, and places. Today we were with Fab Labs and SDG, from awareness via alignment to accountability and impact by design. And tomorrow, by the end of the week, on Thursday, we will be joining ourselves with the Global Kids, meaning the initiative that is culturally propagating the different things through children and education. So don't miss that session. And thank you all so much for joining today on to Fab Month. See you on the next sessions. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye bye.